into the offseason with doubt surrounding their roster. So, Shannon, what is the biggest reason the 76ers lost this game?
Well, Jen, I'm going to disagree. There's no doubt around this roster.
Okay.
They know what they need to do. The question is whether or not they're going to do it. Skip, they lost because their second best player became unplayable in the series. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, Skip, that Doc said that, you don't really know basketball if you think we're going to take Ben Simmons out of the ball game late in the ball game, even though he's an atrocious free throw shooter. He's going to play. And then the last couple of minutes of this ball game, they side him out. A couple of nights ago, they side him out 2 or 3 possessions because they were fouling. They used hack a Ben, and they got back into the ball game and they won it. So he became unplayable. Skip, here's some numbers for you. He's taken 0 shots in the last 4 quarters. He's taken 1 shot over the last 4 quarters. Skip, the guy that touches the ball the most, if he becomes unplayable, there is no value. He can't give you enough on the other end to add value. Because if you ever get behind, what a team's going to do? Instead of you taking a 3, they're going to foul him. Skip, Ben Simmons has not gotten any better since he arrived as a rookie. Now, you look at him and you look at Lonzo Ball. You can see the improvement Lonzo Ball has made every year in his shooting. Ben Simmons has not gotten better. And let me tell you the difference, Skip. I could not swim. I went to 4-H camp. I was in 6th grade, and I couldn't swim. And my friends, Ricky Blanton, Grady Kicklotter, and Simi Driggers, they asked me, they're like, can you swim? I said, no. They asked me, am I afraid of the water? I said, no. They said, we can teach you how to swim. You see, the difference is Ben Simmons can't shoot, but that's not his problem. He's afraid to shoot. That's his problem. Skip, and if you're afraid to shoot the ball, you'll never be able to shoot it.
So they should trade Ben Simmons, is what you're saying.
Absolutely, 1,1714%.
That might be the most absurd thing you've ever said on this show. Go ahead.
You can keep him, but you're never going to win with him.
Okay.
Not a championship. And I tell you what, hey, play that sound for me. Jim, run that sound for me. Now, I don't know, I've never coached a game of basketball in my life, but here's a guy that's played the game, has won a championship as a coach. This is what he said.
And I immediately tweeted the moment he said that, because I was watching it live, because I'm all over it after the game. You can look at my timeline. That was out of bounds on Doc's part. You can't shift all the blame to him, because Doc Rivers has repeatedly blown big leads as a head coach in this league. So is he without blame?
No.
Love Doc, but you can't say that. You cannot throw Ben Simmons under that bus just because the bus ran over you.
Okay. Jim, you got that Joel Embiid sound for me?
Yep. I saw this too live. I was watching it live. I actually have the sound turned up on my TV.
Okay, run it for me, Jim, right quick.
Yep.
So,
yep. I actually asked for that also. Believe it or not. I don't know. I actually watch all the games and all the post games.
I watch the games.
Okay.
But what I do is that I don't listen to the sound.
Okay.
So therefore, when you hear Shannon Sharpe speak, this is Shannon Sharpe speaking.
Okay.
So Skip, I don't get how your starting point guard shoots low 30s for the free throw line. He scored 4 points in ball games, and you think you can win a championship with him. Because here's the thing, Joel Embiid doesn't have a championship window like everybody else, given his history. You make it seem like Joel Embiid all of a sudden is going to say, you know what? I need to drop 20 pounds. I need to maintain my peak level of physical fitness to make sure I get everything out of my NBA career. Has he shown you that ability to do that yet, Skip? Has Ben Simmons shown you the ability to shoot the ball? Forget threes. Has he shown you the ability to shoot outside of the paint? No, he has not. Skip, you've seen enough. Go back and look at the history. When you get a guy like Ben Simmons and you get a guy like Joel Embiid, you're supposed to be Shaq Kobe. You're supposed to be Kareem Magic. You're supposed to be Cousy Russell. You're supposed to be Oscar Kareem.
Yep.
Tony Parker, Tim Duncan.
Yep.
They're not even that. Penny Shaq. Skip, at some point in time, you got to cut your losses.
Tell me when you're finished.
You got to cut your losses,
Okay,
Skip.
you done?
I'm done.
Okay, thank you very much. My turn. First of all, it was absolutely shameful that last night the Sixers lost a Game 7 at home while little Mice Trae, he was cold. He was shivering all night. He shoots 5 of 23. He shoots 2 of 11 from 3. You have to win that game. He is begging and begging and begging you, just take it over and put us out of our misery. And instead, the script flipped, And Joel Embiid could not bring it home. He had a huge start to the fourth quarter, but he had no finish to the fourth quarter except for a bunch of lousy, careless turnovers. And he had 8 for the game, and you cannot win with 8 turnovers. But here's the God's truth about this series. It was lost in Game 4 of the Philly-Washington first-round series when Joel Embiid tore his cartilage. I know for a dead, solid fact he has a small flap of torn cartilage that they're going to have to fix in the offseason. And they begged him. They told him, they showed him the MRI, and they said, you can play through this because it's such a small flap that it probably won't bother you that much. It'll bite you occasionally, but it's not going to get worse. And what happened? Joel Embiid does not have the highest pain threshold. He's never exhibited the highest pain threshold. And so routinely through this series, he would grimace and wince as he went up the floor. So he was never himself last night. How can you not post up Clint Capella? You can annihilate him, as we saw when he went 8 for 8 to open up Game 5. 8 for 8 in the first quarter and outscored Capella 17-0 because he posted him. You have to go and set up and shield him off and get position and demand the basketball. Instead, no, I'm not sure about my knee, so I'm going to drift around the perimeter and shoot three-point shots.
That's been the criticism of Joel Embiid. He doesn't post enough even when he's healthy.
But he could have, but he never trusted his knee in this series, and it changed everything. Because even last night, he thought he was Kevin Durant. He thought he could take the ball out at the top of the circle and do all this and do all this and dribble it. And the plays of the game came when, if we could see this, they still had them. And could we see Thibault? Listen, Philly plays so dumb. The Sixers just play dumb basketball. And they had them. And if we could see what Herter did to Thibault, this is an all-defensive player. This is when you've cut it to one, and he just dives and slaps him across the hand. You can't do that. You're going to lose at home if you do that. Slaps him across the hand, knocks Herter down, and he obviously has a hot hand, so he goes to the free throw line and makes all 3. And then here we come up to the other end, and Joel says, I'm Kevin Durant. Watch what I can do. And let's watch him drive to the right, and let's watch Danilo Gallinari just pick his pocket. He just picked it from behind, and it's a breakaway, and that's the ball game right there. Good night, Sixers. And maybe they put them out of their misery because they're a troubled basketball team. And I don't know why Doc couldn't fix them, but Doc wasn't able to fix the Clippers the way Ty Lue fixed them right before your very eyes. And somehow he lost a game. What game were they up? Game 4, they were up 18 and then 26 in game 5. It's just so wrong. They dominate. They're up 2-1 in this series. Now, I'm going to remind everybody that the Sixers had the best record in the East. Everybody's forgotten that now, but they had the best record in the East. The Sixers at home over the last 2 regular seasons are 61-9 with Embiid and Simmons. 61-9 at home. Is that good? That's great. That's the best 2-year record at home in pro basketball. And now let's get to Ben Simmons. I'm going to defend him today because if you look at the overall scope of his work, he's made 3 straight All-Star teams. You're saying, let's trade our 3 straight time All-Star. He's made first team All-Defense 2 straight years. 2 straight years, first team All-Defense. And if you look at his track record in the postseason, if you look at his first playoff series against Miami in 2018, he made 25 of 35 free throws in that playoff series. That was 71%. Then they played the Celtics in the next round. They lost that, but he made 70% of his free throws. My point to you is I've seen him with my own eyes make free throws in big playoff games. So if we look at his overall stats, he's for his career 16, 8, and 8. It's hard to replace the 8 and 8 part of it. It's hard to replace the first team all defense part of it because he perennially leads your team in assists because he's the point forward. And he's going to lead in usage rate. And I give you, he can't shoot a lick from outside. And I give you that he hasn't tried to learn how to shoot a lick from outside. But for his career, he's a 60% free throw shooter, which is not unplayable. 60's okay, right?
But at the point guard position, but what is he in clutch time?
Well, all I know is in the playoffs, he has slowly sunk into the sunset because he starts off with 71% against Miami, 70, then it drops to 58, then 56. That was against Brooklyn and then the Raptors in 2019. And then this year against Washington, he sank all the way to 36%. And in this series, he sank to 33%. And to your point, he sank in the fourth quarter to, I just won't even touch the basketball anymore. I can't do it. I can't even get close to shooting because they're going to foul me.
Skip, but you skipped. The man had a dunk. The man is 6'10", standing in the basket. And
did we show that?
We didn't show that, Skip.
Okay, we got to see it.
Because that's what Embiid was talking about.
He was 3:29.
We should have prefaced it by first.
Okay,
So this is what Embiid is talking about right here.
3:29 left, and he wheels on Gallinari, and he's just got a dunk. He's remember, this man, Ben Simmons, is 6'11", 240. 6'11", 240.
Skip, that's Trae Young.
And guess who it is? It's Trae Young. So what, is Trae Young even going to try to foul you? Is he going to try to foul you?
That's what he did. He faked that. He faked that like, oh, I'm out your way.
Yep.
He passes up a dunk to pass because he said, well, I thought Gallinari was on my back. Skip, you 6'10", dunk Gallinari in the basket.
Well, yeah, he said, I thought he was going to get me from behind. I don't think he was going to get him from behind. He wasn't even close.
He gave up.
He was 3 feet.
He's like, oh, you done got me, bro. Hey, ain't no sense in me giving you an and one. I thought Gallinari should have grabbed him, Skip.
I don't even care about the and one, but if you dunk it, the game is tied with 3:29 left.
Well, he wasn't going to get the and one, but I'm saying I would have grabbed him so he wouldn't dunk it. Gallinari says, well, you know what? Gallinari actually made a mistake in that situation because he should have tied him up to make him go make the free throws instead of giving him the opportunity to dunk. But you can't Skip, let that sink in. That's your starting point guard. That's the guy that you said you should keep on the roster. A guy that's 6'10.5" that passed up a dunk. And you talking about you gonna win a championship with him? Come on, Skip.
What was the rest of Doc's message? He said, we've got to get back in the gym. I don't think Doc's going to take him to the gym in the offseason. It's going to be up to Ben Simmons to rededicate to learning how to shoot the way, to your point, Lonzo, he completely revamped. Lonzo revamped, but he had to change his motion from over here to over here. Ben has no motion problems. It looks good to me. It gets a little flat sometimes. It's just a confidence problem. You can defeat the confidence problem by shooting 10,000 in the offseason. You can. Everybody says like a golf swing, you can reteach it in 10,000 swings. Well, if you went and seriously shot, that's a lot of free throws. But if you could shoot 10,000 in the offseason, maybe you'd finally, especially if you got with a shot doctor coach who could really try to reinstill your confidence, because it's just confidence with him. He's done it before. It's not like he never could shoot at LSU because he could shoot it okay at LSU.
But here's the difference, Skip. We saw a lot of guys that when they were in the bubble and there were no fans around, Skip, they were all NBA players. And then when the very same players that we saw lighted up in the bubble, when they got back and the fans started coming back in the building, they had like they didn't ever seen a basketball before in their life. I'm not saying, Skip, he probably gets in the gym and he probably looks like Steph Curry at times. But the difference is that he doesn't have the confidence. He's afraid to do it.
He's had it in the past, but he lost it slowly but surely this year.
No, Skip. He's always been afraid to shoot the ball unless it was in the paint. Now, Skip, he's afraid. He's totally afraid, Skip. You don't pass up the dunks to give a guy that's cutting to the basket, Skip. You dunk the ball home. But he was afraid he was going to get fouled.
That's all. Because swooping to the hoop, he's about as good as there is. Running the break, getting to the rim. He's right up there with LeBron James to me running the break because he's 6'11". He's 2 inches taller than LeBron.
Correct.
And 240 is, I'm not saying he's stout, but he can pack a wallop at the rim. Well, the point is, he got psychological demons in the depth of his psyche to where he couldn't get them out. And obviously Doc or anybody else couldn't help him rebuild his confidence on the fly.
No. That's not happening during the season.
So my only issue with him when he was at LSU, that 1 year he was forced to play college basketball. And he winds up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and he's looking around like, where the hell am I and what am I having to do? And he didn't really care, and about half the time he checked out. But you could see when he checked in just how dominant he could be. But the point was, and by the way, that LSU team got nowhere. They got invited to the NIT, and they said, thank you, but no thank you, right? But my problem with Ben Simmons there, and this still could be the problem, is I don't know how much he cares about being great at basketball.
Hold on, Skip. But you just defended the guy, said I was out of my mind. But you don't know how much he cares. You love guys that care about the game.
I do, but he is so gifted, and he's done it. Here's the final point that you're missing, I feel like. He's age 24. He's 24 years of age. Surely he can figure out, with the shame and humiliation he's going through right now, that I have to rededicate to this. I have to fix myself where next time around, because I've seen him get mad. He got mad at Jared Dudley one time. Remember when they were playing Brooklyn, when Brooklyn was nobody?
When Joel Embiid missed.
And he just destroyed Jared Dudley and the Nets at Brooklyn. Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
He just annihilated them because he's got that in him, but he has to get mad about it. So to me, I'm not going to give up on him, because 3 straight All-Star teams and 2 straight first-team All-Defenses is something that doesn't grow on Los Angeles palm trees.
Skip, what good is $1 million car if it's not operational?
Well, it has operated.
Yes, but it's not operational
it's
now.
won a bunch of races.
But Skip, at the end of the day, so he's giving you that. He's an all-NBA player. He's an all-defensive player. You look at that in the playoff. When has he been that in the last 2 games, in the last 2 series, the last 2 years? When has he been what his resume says that he should be?
Well, again, I'm showing you that for a while he was shooting free throws at a 70% clip in playoff series. 2 full series, he shot 70%. That'll work.
Skip, I thought you sell high. I mean, the stock's declining. So in other words, the stock's dipping, and you trying to buy more of it? You must know something I don't.
Okay, just remember, they were up 2-1 on Atlanta.
Yes.
And I was just sure it was over, and I think you were too.
No, I told you it was going 7.
But they were up 18 in Game 4
yes.
and 26 in Game 5. What?
Right.
And then they win on Friday night and won Game 6 pretty handily. They showed you again and again, when they flexed their might, they were better than the Atlanta Hawks. They're not more together. They're not more unified. They're not hotter than the Hawks, who keep overcoming their little shivering point guard. And he does good. He's a great passer, and he's great for their chemistry because he can distribute the rock and he can get Capella dunks.
Well, this is what we know. Ice Trae in this series was 29-11. Now, if Ben Simmons was giving me 29-11, I don't care what had transpired. I was like, we got to hold on to him. But he's not giving me 29-11. Hell, he's not even. What did Ben Simmons average in this series, Skip? And you talking about hold on to a starting point guard?
Absolutely.
That averaged less than 10 points a game.
No, he didn't. In the whole series?
Yes.
He was 14, 7, and 7 with 2 steals a game. And why did Trae Young, for the whole series, shoot 39% from the floor, which is horrendously bad? Ben Simmons. I give you 2 names, Ben and Simmons.
But
that's why.
But see, when you tie everything to Trae Young with points, you're going to say, yeah, he did play bad. But what about those 11 assists in the series? Over 7 games, that's what he gave you. He had 5 games with double-digit assists because Trae Young can add value by doing something other than scoring. Can Ben Simmons bring you value? The value that Trae Young bought the Hawks by doing what he did? Absolutely not. Not for a championship team. Yeah, it's going to look good in the regular season, Skip, because you know why? Because one week you're playing Atlanta, then one game you're playing Atlanta, then you're to the Nets, then you're to the Heat, and this one and that one. But in a series where they can lock in on you, that's what you get.
Okay, but still, Game 7 went right to the wire, and it's just dumb play after dumb play by the Sixers cost them the game.
But you haven't told me what Ben did. Okay, it went right to the wire. Guy played 36 minutes. He was 2 of 4 from the field. Let that sink in. 2 of 4, 1 of 2 from the free throw line. Now, you tell me LeBron James should just drive the basketball. Ben Simmons got you. Come on, Skip.
What he did for you was 5 of 23 for Trae Young. That's what he did. And how the Hawks overcame that, I don't know.
Oh, let me tell you how Kevin Huerter had 27. John Collins had 14 and 16. Clint Capella had 13. Trae Young was 21 and 11. Gallinari was 17. That's how you overcome it. I'm just trying to figure how Philadelphia keep having
the Hawks
these great.
Shot 7 of 27 from 3.
Skip,
way to go,
You
Shannon.
shot 9 of 28 from 3.
Okay,
but what
that should say that you won the game.
We did.
Yeah. No, that the Sixers should have won the game.
Skip, hold on. Atlanta shot better from the field than you guys. They were 36 of 81. You guys were 34 of 80. You turned the ball over. Look at all the turnovers you had. That's what cost Atlanta Friday night was the turnovers. You turn around and repay the favor to them by turning it over 7 more times in this ball game. Skip, look, I'm just saying there. How big a window do you think you have with Joel Embiid with his injury history? You think it's going to be open like he's going to have a career like Kareem? He's going to play 20 years. He's not.
He'll have to get this fixed. It's not a big deal. He'll be fine in a month after he gets a little.
Skip, what is his injury history told you, Skip?
Yep. Well, I got it. But I also see that Joel Embiid this year had a career year.
Yes.
Yeah, he averaged 29 a game, was second in MVP, but 29 was a career high. Shot a career high 51%, shot a career high 38% from three, and a career high 86% from the free throw line, and nobody came even close to shooting as many free throws as Joel Embiid. So, monster year, first in the East. Everything's coming up roses. They're up 2-1 in this series. They have leads of 18 and 26 in games 4 and 5, and you say, blow it up. I'm not going to blow it up.
You even started your thing out. I know for a fact Joel Embiid is injured. You started that.
I know for a fact.
So with that being said, when you go out and get you a point guard that can maximize this window that Joel Embiid is going to have, wouldn't you do that?
I would go get a point guard just to have a point guard.
So what you
just
do?
To have a real 6'3" playmaker.
So what you gonna do with Ben Simmons then?
There's
Just play him.
frustration in Philly. There's no doubt.
Why do you
They're
think Trae
running
Young
out
was
of
2 and 9 on
excuses,
Friday night?
guys.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.